Well, I'm about to undertake one of my most terrifying projects yet. It is the second week of Escape the Readathon, which is a very exciting readathon hosted by Lexi from Books with Lexi. If you are watching this video, it is never too late to join. I am co-hosting Team Thrill Seekers with Jordan from Sorry Booked Solid, and we are all trying to be the first to escape a haunted carnival. I will link all of the information that you guys need to know down in the description box below because Lexi explains it way better than I do, but I decided that I was going to make life harder on myself and challenge myself throughout the entire month of April. This week, the challenge is going to be to try to wake up every morning early in order to read. I already get up relatively early because I do have a full-time job, but I wanted to challenge myself to get up even earlier in order to read a little bit before work and see if I can't help my team out even more by getting in more reading time. My alarm typically goes off around 6:30, 6:40 in the mornings, but I don't get out of bed until a little closer to 7 a.m. most mornings. See how productive I can be before going into work. I'm very scared of this because I don't like getting up early. I like to sleep in. I like my sleep. I like to be able to stay cozy in bed and not have to get up until the last possible moment. So I have chosen to hate myself this week, but it's gonna be fine. Thrill Seekers, you better love me this week. So I wanted to come to you guys a little bit fresher than what I will probably look like in the morning when I do my first check-in. And we're gonna be starting this bright and early on Monday morning. Alright, it is a very gloomy Monday morning. I have got my bathroom, as Monica would call it. I am awake-ish, and I am here. I did not fully get out of bed until about 5:45, but I was awake and listening to my audiobook by 5 a.m. So I have made pretty good progress into Glow of the Everflame. I don't know if I will give you guys a lot of reading updates that will be very coherent in these early morning vlogs, but we're here. I feel okay-ish. I go into work at 7 a.m. on Thursday and Friday, so my alarm goes off at 5:45 anyway, so it's not like this is astronomically out of the norm for me, but I did wake up at 4 a.m. and stayed awake until about 4:20 and then promptly fell back asleep and was dreaming when my alarm went off, which is not setting me up for success. But my patrons are suffering with me. Many of them got up at either 5 a.m. their prospective times or 5 a.m. my time so that they could be my accountability partner, which I greatly appreciate. They're all either up reading or taking a walk or just trying to get up and be productive for their day. Getting up and chatting this morning definitely helped me to stay awake and not want to roll over and just pull the covers up over my head and go right back to sleep because the thought was there, but I did it. Day one is complete. And maybe at some point later I will chat with you guys about Glow of the Everflame, but right now I gotta make some coffee. This little booger decided he did not want to get up with me at 5 a.m. He said, I am still in bed. I am still snoozing. There we go. I made it to work and I figured I would update you guys and give you a little bit more of a coherent update now that I am slightly more awake. I started Glow of the Everflame in last week's vlog and I am now about a little over halfway into it, I believe. And I'm liking this one. I'm having fun with it. These books definitely have some logic issues and some things that could probably be cleared up a little bit more, although I will say that I'm not noticing that nearly as much in the second book in the series as I was the first book in the series. It's definitely much more romantic-y than the first one was, which I am thoroughly enjoying. I'm liking the conversations that we are having about two different sides, which side is right, the fact that one side isn't always right and one side isn't always wrong, and I think that that thought process is always something that I like to have explored in books. Fireborn does that really, really well, for example. So I'm really enjoying that aspect of the story. I'm liking their relationship. I do wish that there was a little bit more banter, but I think the tension is done really, really well, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. So this one is going well at the moment. We are currently working on a building, and this one will work for the building that we are at the moment trying to open. So hopefully I can actually get it finished off today because I have 3.5 hours. No, I have 3 hours left. I actually may not finish this today. I may finish this tomorrow. tomorrow. I'll listen to it on the way home, which is about an hour, and then if I get up at 5 in the morning again tomorrow, that's another hour to an hour and a half, but I don't know that I'll finish it. I have more left of it than I thought I did. These books get progressively longer as they go, like significantly longer as they go. This is my week, right? This is my week. We're getting up at 5 a.m. We're gonna have lots of reading time. I surprisingly feel better now that I've been up and moving for a little while than I thought I would. I've had some caffeine. I've had some food. I will say I cannot be trusted with a knife at 6 o'clock in the morning. I was cutting my bagel open and sliced my finger open with a knife. So nobody trusts me with any sharp instruments before 7 a.m. That is the moral of this vlog. We're done. We can be finished now. I don't know that I'll check in with you guys anymore today. Depends on if I get any more reading done. I will get maybe some reading done because I have escape sprints tonight. I've completely forgotten about those and I really need to get those scheduled. I'm early to work. Go me. So maybe I'll go ahead and go in instead of sitting in my car and plinking on my phone for 20 minutes and get those scheduled. So it is one thing to have to get up at 5 a.m. It's another thing to have to get out of bed because it is cold. It is very, very cold. But it's 5:15. It's early. I'm awake. I did finish my book this morning. I was listening. I will tell you about it later. I gave it a 4-star. I did really enjoy it. I liked it a lot better than the first book in the series, and I kind of want to continue on into the next book. I don't know if I will because I do have some other things that I really need to be reading, and I have been more in an epic fantasy mood instead of a romantasy mood, but I don't know. The ending was really good and I just kind of want to fly into the next book. So we'll see if I end up doing that or not. I would have to buy the audiobook, so maybe not. But my next plan was to go into 5 Broken Blades. So we'll see which one I end up going with. I really need to get my butt up and go make some coffee and look a little less gremlin-y. But I think that I'm going to lay here for a few more minutes and like scroll through Instagram before I finally decide to get out of bed because the sun's not even up yet. Like I guess it's like you can kind of see just a little bit right there. It's kind of peeking up, but making me get up before the sun's up is just rude. Who thought of this? Whose idea was this? It wasn't my idea. I don't know what you're talking about. It wasn't mine. Okay. Good night. I am home and I was starting a 3rd book in preparation to continue to try to open a building, but the building has been opened and Lexi has decided to make this vlog a little bit more chaotic by challenging us with a midweek 48-hour readathon. So it is currently Tuesday. We are on day 2 of my week-ish reading challenge, and I now have a 48-hour readathon to read as many pages, not books, but pages as I possibly can. I guess it's a good thing that I'm getting up an extra hour early to read because I'm gonna need it. I am definitely not going to tell you what building we opened or what game we are in. This is the 4th building that we have opened, I believe. What I will tell you is that other teams have opened this building. We are not the first nor the second team to have opened this building, so take with that hint what you will. I have started A Crown This Cold and Heavy by Stasia Stark, which is the 3rd book in the A Court This Cruel and Lovely series. This is about Priska, who is one of the corrupted. Essentially in this world, you are supposed to give up your magic as you are born. Your parents give up your magic to the gods, and if you don't give up your magic, then you are considered one of the corrupted. And Priska is one of the corrupted. She's been hiding her magic her entire life. When one day she is found out and she sets off on the run, she meets a green-eyed man who has been haunting her dreams, and they make a bargain that he will help her figure out how to control her magic if she helps him and try to figure out a way into the castle. Of course, she decides that she is going to do that and gets brought into this like political game and scheming and all of that. I really enjoyed this series. It is a lot of fun. So far, this particular book has definitely opened up the fantasy scope a lot, which normally I love, but I am finding that I'm not loving the additional points of view. We had one extra point of view in the last book, which I didn't mind. I did feel like it added to the plot. and gave us information that I didn't necessarily know from Priska and Lorian's point of view. But I feel like these two additional points of view that we are getting in this book so far aren't really giving me a ton of extra information at the moment, and I'm not sure that I'm loving them. I reserve the right to change my mind, but at the moment I don't hate them. I just don't feel like they're giving me a lot of new information, so they're okay. I have no idea what page number I'm starting on. I will figure that out later. I actually realized as I was coming in here to pick up the book that I don't actually own this book, so I probably need to order that. The fourth book does come out not next week, but the next. And so I'm very excited. I'm going to be reading this third book in perfect timing for the fourth book to come out. And I think that's everything. Good morning. I am out of bed. It is currently 5:11 in the morning. I am very, very tired. This has probably been the hardest day to get up, but we're making it. It's day 3. Is this gonna be something I stick with? Probably not. Probably not. But I've got a village. The village is helping. That's definitely been really, really nice. But yeah, I am tired. Sun's not even up this morning. It is still pitch black. I can't believe I'm physically out of bed. I don't know what I did with my, oh, there it is. I have coffee, which is good. We have coffee. But yeah, it's a struggle bus this morning. I am going to be finishing up Crown This Cruel and Lovely. I was gonna finish this last night and honestly thought to myself, there is no way that I can like wake up at 5 a.m. and completely focus on a brand new book, especially a brand new fantasy book. So I decided to like stop the last 45 minutes or so of that last night so that I could finish it up this morning and finish up something that like I was more familiar with. So that's what I'm gonna do this morning. Submit those pages. So I think I read about 350 pages of that since the readathon started. Sorry guys, I have not been up long enough, or have I had enough liquid, so I feel like I sound like Kermit the Frog. So I'm gonna go find a blanket, maybe make a second cup of coffee. So I'm feeling slightly less sulky now about the fact that I was up at 5 a.m. This morning was rough, but it's now 7:15, and this morning calls for the heavy-duty guns. I decided not to make a second cup of coffee, and I am currently at Mudslingers instead. We are bringing out the big guns this morning. So I am going to get a cold brew. I think I'm gonna go with the s'mores because it is still, obviously it's still May. What am I saying this morning? I'm not functional, but it's still May. They still have their May menu, which means they still have the s'mores cold brew. So that is what my life needs this morning. But I brought it with me. Why did I bring it with me? Because I'm not gonna be reading the physical copy. But anyway, this morning I did start 5 Broken Blades. I've only read 2 chapters of it, which means I've only gotten 2 points of view. I have heard that this is a 6 point of view story, which means it's gonna fit great with our fantasy bingo because I needed a 5+ point of view book for hard mode for that one. So that one will work perfectly. I don't know anything about this. I know that it is a true like Red Tower book. So it's an older YA to new adult book. It is like not really romantasy, but has an undercurrent of romance, and it is like epic fantasy style. That's really all that I know about it. I know it's an easy, like more epic fantasy, and I kind of need that right now. I've been in an epic fantasy mood, but I also have not really been mentally able getting up at 5 a.m. to fully comprehend like my usual epic fantasies. This is the same publisher that did Fourth Wing, so I'll show you guys this beautiful copy later when I can show it off a little bit better. They have got a publishing house that is A+ on their editions right now, but we'll deal with that later. For now, I'm about to be at the drive-thru, so let's order some coffee.
As I look back one more time, nothing but hazy air and condo shopping. But nothing doesn't mean you're safe. It just means you haven't spotted the danger yet. I've hunted every creature in New Sun.
Hey, when that first cup of coffee hit your soul, I needed that. Oops, I just realized I forgot to tell you guys about Crown This Cruel and Lovely. I gave it a 4-star. I think that I liked the second book a decent bit better than I liked this one. It just had a little less romantasy. I missed their banter a lot. I wanted more of them like sniping at one another and just their relationship. The points of view ended up being fine. I don't know that they added enough to the story for me to have those extra 2 points of view. Definitely the Queen. I think the Queen added a lot, but the Asenia and crap, what was her name? It started with an M. I don't remember. But those 2 points of view, I'm not sure if they added enough for me to need to be there. But I still liked them. I just don't know that they were entirely necessary to be taking away from Priska and Lorien. I just, like I said, I miss their banter more than anything, but I still really liked it. I liked the story. I liked the scope. It did end on a cliffhanger, and it was a pretty significant cliffhanger, not gonna lie. I don't think it hit me quite as hard as it did everyone else, just mostly because I saw it coming from a mile away. The second something happened, about 30-40% of the book, I knew what the cliffhanger was. So it didn't surprise me at all, and so it didn't feel as cliffhangery because I knew it was coming. It doesn't feel cliffhangery because it's something that Fanro does, or Romantasy does, a lot, and it always works out. So we'll see. If it doesn't work out, I'm going to eat my words, but it always works out. So it doesn't feel as cliffhangery because, like, it's gonna work out. There's no way that it doesn't. There's no way. So I don't know. I just wish that it felt like there was a little more stakes, but I'm curious to see how it works out. So it's not that I don't like the ending. It's not that I'm not invested in the ending, because I definitely am. I definitely want to know what's going to happen and how everything's going to come out to play. I will absolutely be reading the 4th book when it comes out. I'm so excited for it. It comes out on May 30th, so not very long to wait. But it just didn't hit me quite as hard as I was expecting it to based off of what everyone had said. But anyway, 4 stars. So this morning I had to get like up and out of bed earlier than I have been. I've been trying every morning to get up a little bit earlier and not just be a sloth and lay in bed, although getting out of bed when it is cold is not my favorite thing to do. So this morning I have got to be at work early. It is one of my early days, so it really was not as different for me. It was earlier, but only about like 45 minutes to a half hour than I normally get up on Thursdays and Fridays. So yeah, not fun, but like, I'm okay. I don't know why it's so different when it's part of your routine. It definitely was not fun waking up, but now that I'm like up and moving, I feel better. But I figured that I would talk to you guys while I was getting ready for work, especially since I'm up a whole lot earlier than I normally am. So we've got plenty of time to chat. So I am listening to 5 Broken Blades, and I honestly got a pretty decent chunk of this done yesterday. I only have about an hour and 40 minutes left, and I'm about 54% of the way through it, and I don't like it. I really wanted to be able to tell you guys that once I got to halfway, things were really starting to look up, that there were, you know, the things that were annoying me were getting a lot better. I was enjoying it a lot more. And unfortunately, I don't know if I can say that. It could be a 3-star. I don't really see it pushing to a 4, although I suppose anything is possible, but it also could end up being a 2-star at this point. A couple of different reasons. First, let me tell you what this is about. We have 6 different points of view in this, and all of them are from different parts of this realm. We have a thief, we have a girl that was sold off when she was young to become like a poisons master, and she is like serving out her indentured servitude. We have a prince that has been cast off. We have a spy master, sword for hire. What else is there? A guy that's like going around with the poisons master girl. I forget honestly who all is a part of this, which is probably not the best sign. But they all are basically on the same mission, but they don't exactly know it, where they are trying to kill the king. But in this world, magic really doesn't exist much anymore except for in artifacts. And the artifact that is protecting the king is his crown. He is not immortal. Everyone thinks that he is a god king and he is completely immortal, but in all actuality, it is the crown atop his head that keeps him alive. So if that crown were to be removed, he could be killed. So basically that's the plot of the story. They are all trying to remove this crown from his head so that he can be killed, and they each have a role to play in this. And that, you know, in and of itself sounds like it would be really interesting, but nothing is happening. Like, this book is way too long and not long enough all at the same time. I find that I don't really love things that are more than 3 or 4 points of view, mostly because I find that I don't get to know or care enough about certain points of view typically when that's the case, and that's definitely what's going on here. We have very short chapters, which normally would be a positive for me, and I still don't necessarily think that I want long chapters, but I also feel like I'm not really getting to know any of these characters. Saya, I think is how you say her name, is the only one that I feel like I actually know anything about, and I think it's because we spent the most time in her backstory. Otherwise, I don't understand the motivations really behind half of these characters. And even if I do, like, it feels so surface level because we haven't spent any time with them. And by the time we do start spending a little bit of time with them, we immediately move on to the next character, and it's like, what was the point? They are starting to spend more time together, which I guess could help, but at this point the foundation's been laid, so I don't really know if that's going to do us a whole lot of good. You guys are probably getting a rant review because I've already been talking for 5 minutes and I'm not done yet. I don't really have a whole lot more to say, I guess. I feel like there's no depth to this. I feel like the magic system is extremely weak. There really isn't much of a magic system at all. The world building is extremely weak. There isn't much world building at all. So I want this story to be longer to expand all of that. It feels so weak and lazy, like the author just didn't bother to put it in. Not that they couldn't, but that they just didn't try. On top of that, nothing is happening. So it feels like everything is just being drug out because we are just standing around talking, and we're doing a lot of talking about like who likes who and who's lusting after who. Yet this isn't a romantasy, and nothing is actually happening in any kind of romantic capacity. They're all just like, well, she's so hot. Well, I shouldn't be turned on by that. And I'm just like, move on. Like, get in the pants and get out of the pants, but like do something. I don't know. I'm not loving it, which is really disappointing because I thought that I was going to absolutely adore this book, and I'm not. I still have half of it to go. I'm not going to stop now. I am going to finish it because I have an hour and a half left. Like, I'm not going to stop now, but I just don't see it pulling out a 4-star at this point. I think that this had the potential to be like a good, not heist story, but like assassins and all of that. Honestly, there are a couple points of view that I do like in this, mostly Sawya. I like her point of view a lot, the Poisons Master. I think if we had a book revolving her, that I would be absolutely interested in reading it. I think her backstory is extremely interesting. She was given all of these like micro poisons, and now they can basically sit on her body and she can ingest them and they won't kill her. So she uses that to kill other people. I find her story incredibly interesting. I would read an entire book about her. I think that if we had scaled down the points of view, because there literally does not need to be this many for any reason whatsoever, that we would be able to expand the story and understand things a lot better. And I think that would help. But like, this is supposed to be an Asian set story, and I don't feel like I really am getting any culture in this. I'm on a rant. Y'all got a rant review. But anyway, I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna finish doing my makeup. I'm gonna get ready for work. I'm gonna finish this book, and I will let you know this afternoon if anything major changes. But I think the thing is, it's not a bad book. I'm just so disappointed because I can see the potential in it and I wanted to love it, but it is missing the mark in so many different places that I'm frustrated because I feel like there is the potential here, but there's just so many things that need to be adjusted that it's not hitting the mark. I want to give you guys my Well, I was gonna say I wanted to give you guys my final thoughts on 5 Broken Blades really quick before my dinner got here, but dinner is here, so we're gonna make this relatively quickly if Ollie will chill out long enough for you to hear me. Ollie! I ended up giving this a generous 3-star. It's not bad, but I never really felt anything more than what I ranted about to you guys before, so I don't have a whole lot more to say. The ending was interesting, nothing super shocking. There were a few twists, but most of those twists I did see coming. However, there was significantly more action, so it was more entertaining than most of the rest of the book, so I did enjoy that aspect of it. However, the setup for the second book seems very similar to this one, so I'm just hoping that we don't get more of the same in book 2. Will I read book 2? I could be persuaded. I think that I would wait and see how everyone ends up feeling about this one. And then if there are people that felt similarly to me about this book, end up liking the sequel and choosing to read it, I could be persuaded to pick up the sequel. It's just going to be kind of one of those, I want to see how the reviews go on it, and then maybe I would pick it up. It's one of those, like, it just had a lot of potential. The ideas were there, but the execution definitely did not hit home for me. I wanted more culture. I wanted more world building. I needed more depth from the characters. Basically, everything just kind of skimmed the surface of what it could be. And then there was just too much, like, even the relationships, just so surface level. The characters just felt too young while trying to be older. And I don't know, it didn't really work for me personally. So yeah, generous 3-star on this one. I have not picked another book yet. I have a Patreon poll up, so we will see what they end up choosing for me, and I will let you guys know in the morning. Why did I turn the light on? That is very bright. Good morning. It is day 5, I think, of this challenge, and I have one more day to go. I'm doing okay. I actually slept a little bit better last night, and then I woke up by myself at 5 a.m. without my alarm going off and without the patrons waking me up. So I don't know if that means that my body is just like getting used to this, and I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I guess that is a good thing, but yeah, anyway, I woke up by myself this morning. Yesterday, I asked the patrons on a poll what they wanted me to read next, and they chose Lady of Embers. Actually, they chose the cat. They chose the cat emoji, which was supposed to be a panther, but yeah, of course they chose the cat. But anyway, they chose Lady of Embers on the emoji poll for me, and this is the 4th book in the Lady of Darkness series. I'll give you guys a better description on it later. I don't know that I will finish this in this vlog. I know I won't finish this in this vlog. I don't even know how far I'm gonna get in this vlog because, like, chunky. So I don't know. I'll update you guys when I've read a little bit more of that one. It's a series I really enjoy, but I'm getting progressively more tired as this challenge goes on. This morning at work, it blessed me. The work gods blessed me because last time I checked, I only had 2 patients on my schedule. Now, that is either a blessing or it means when I get to work, there's going to be a million questions and a bunch of add-ons and crap's going to hit the fan. I'm going to be going this afternoon to Mom's house. She had her 2nd surgery yesterday. She's doing great, by the way, in case you were guys wondering. She was having a little bit of pain yesterday, but overall she sounded like she was doing really, really well. So I'm going to go hang out with her for a little bit, which means I will get some good audio listening time because she lives about 45 minutes away from me. I need to go transfer my car tag because I haven't done that yet, and I'm pretty sure I'm in delinquent state at this point, which means I'm gonna get charged a fee. But yeah, that is what it is. So anyway, I'm rambling at this 5 a.m. time. I'm gonna go get ready for work. That about covers how I'm feeling right now. Okay, so I have gotten about 25% into Lady of Darkness, and initially I was a little sad and unsure about how I was feeling about this book, which again, it was very sad because I have given most of this series like 4 and 5 stars. But when we first started off in this, I was like, oh no, I'm not having a very good time. I'll explain why in a second, but I am having a better time now. The Lady of Darkness series is following Scarlet, who is one of the 3 like daughters of death, one of the death maidens, and she is basically an assassin. In the first book, there are children that are going missing. What is going on with them? So she decides to infiltrate one of the Lord's houses, and there she meets a man named Riker, who is like the head of the King's Guard, and he offers to train her while she is trying to figure out what is going on with these kids while also killing her mark. We have Fae in this world, but there are also a lot of other things going on. It has a knife to the throat, it has touch her and die, it has training, it has enemies to lovers, it has reluctant allies to lovers, lots of really good tropes in this, and I thoroughly enjoyed the first 3 books in the series. We have a pretty massive cliffhanger at the end of book 3, and there will not be any spoilers for this, but There is a trope that I particularly dislike in most fantasy overall, not just fantasy romance, but most fantasy overall. But I would say probably 90% of the time it's not really done in one of my favorite ways. The trope at the end of book 3 led to that trope, and basically things just resolved a little too quickly for my taste. It made the ending of book 3 essentially pointless, and so I was like, if you're gonna do that, there needs to be stakes, it needs to matter, there needs to be some kind of consequences, or at the very least, it needs to do more to push the plot forward. It needs to have more conversations around it. We don't need to resolve this within the first 5% of the next book. Otherwise, there was no point. So I was a little bit frustrated by that, and it had the trope that I didn't like. So just all around, didn't love that. And then our love interests were having the same argument that they've been having for 3 books, which are extremely chunky, might I add, over and over and over and over again, and things were just feeling really repetitive. I think the problem for me is I need to binge fanrow, or I at least need to read these longer fanrow series closer together, because indie fantasy romance or indie romantasy tends to be relatively chunky, and if they're more than 2 or 3 books, between the chunky and the longer books, things do tend to feel kind of repetitive. The third act breakup, or at least the conflicts between the characters, tend to kind of circle back around, and they tend to have the same arguments. And so while you're in it and you're loving the characters and you're vibing, that's okay. But when things tend to linger for a little bit too long and you get kind of away from the glow of being in the relationship with the characters, things can become a little bit more annoying and a little bit more noticeable. And I think that that's where I'm at right now. I will say, now that I am further into the book and I kind of push through that beginning part, I am liking it better. I am more in it. I am remembering what I liked about the series and what I liked about the characters. So I am enjoying it. But in the beginning, I was a little bit concerned, and I think that that's why. But we're getting there, slowly but surely. I'm not going to be able to finish this. I am going to get up in the morning and read a little bit more, but I do want to try to get this vlog out for you guys tomorrow. So I will not be finishing this book, but I am hoping I can finish it pretty quickly. So I will try to update you guys in the next vlog. If not, it will at least be in my wrap up at the end of the month. I hate leaving you guys hanging, but that is the nature of weekly vlogs, which is why I tend to not do them super often, because I hate to leave you guys hanging. I hate to not tell you my final thoughts on a book, but I guess more incentive to watch my monthly wrap-ups. We are now out of the game. We are working on a building. I'm not going to tell you what building. It will not happen. Don't ask. I'm not going to tell. My lips are sealed, but I don't think we're going to open that building before the end of this vlog. I think it's going to take us a little while to get that one open. Good morning. It is my last official day of getting up early. It's Saturday, and I did allow myself a little bit later this morning, as you can see by the slightly more daylight outside. Since it was Saturday, I did not want to get up at exactly 5 a.m. I didn't need that much time to be productive this morning, but I did get up a little bit earlier than I usually do, and I really need to be pretty productive today. I've got a lot of things to do this morning. Did get some reading done, and I don't really have a whole lot more thoughts on Lady of Embers than I did before, so no real reading update. But yeah, I'm thinking I'm pretty glad that this is the last day of me having to get up very early. So it's time to wrap up this 5 a.m. reading vlog. It is not 5 a.m., but I did want to come to you guys and kind of tell you, what did I think? How did this week go? Would I do it again? Am I planning to continue to get up at 5 a.m.? Did I feel more productive? The answer to that is sort of. I definitely felt more productive. I felt like I had more time to my day. And I actually think that I learned that I probably need to get up a little bit earlier than I typically do, because up until about the end of the week, I felt better throughout most of the day. I liked being able to get up and read and kind of wake up and spend a little bit of extra time waking up in the morning before I actually had to go and use my brain. So that was really nice. Will I get up at 5 a.m.? Absolutely not. It will not be 5 a.m. Will I get up a little bit earlier though? Yeah, potentially. I'm thinking maybe like 6. 6 sounds like a good idea. 5, not so much. 5 is gonna be too early for my blood, but 6 is a possibility. I definitely felt more productive overall. I think I got a lot more reading done this week. I definitely still felt like I could read in the afternoons. I still wanted to listen to my book on the way to work and the way home from work. I didn't feel like I got home and was just like, oh my gosh, I absolutely don't want to touch a book. I'm so tired, I can't function. I didn't mind picking up books when I got home. And that was probably my biggest fear, was that I was going to get up so early to read that I would end up sacrificing my evening time reading because I was just too tired to focus. But that ended up not being the case. So, pleasantly surprised by this, but not so pleasantly surprised that I'm going to continue to get up at 5 a.m. But I think that that is a wrap on this vlog. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. If you want to see last week's challenge, I will leave that up here for you guys. Just a reminder that it is not too late to join Escape the Readathon, and all of the information for that will be linked down below. If you just want to let me know that you were here and hanging out, leave me a clock emoji down in the comments. As always, links to my Patreon, Instagram, Twitter, and Goodreads are all in the description box below. If you liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you want to, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!